The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
This Social Security measure gives at least some protection
For anybody to hand this out, we're asking for a chance to have the people who will receive the benefit to earn their way. The same principle established under the Social Security system in this nation.
It is no longer acceptable to discuss women's rights as separate from human rights.
I know we can come together to face down the challenges of our own time.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Us Democrats here on Access Nashua. I'm Dave Tenza, Chair of the Nashua Democratic City Committee. We are continuing our series here of state representative candidates. We are fortunate to be joined tonight by the candidates in Ward 9 here in Nashua. We have Linda Harriet Gathright, Representative Marty Jack, and Representative Mike O'Brien, I should say, on the Honorable Linda Harriet Gathright. Because we'll get to it, that you've been up in Concord before. But this is an opportunity for the candidates to introduce themselves to some of the voters in your ward who may not have had the opportunity to meet you yet, and to let people know what your priorities are when you're going to be elected to Concord come this November. And so we'll give you an opportunity. We'll start with you, Linda, to talk a little bit about your background, your previous political and work experience, and what you hope to be part of when you're elected.
Good evening. I am retired from Verizon after 34 and a half years. And once retiring from Verizon, I decided that I wanted to do a little bit in politics. I've worked in the community for about 32 years. Former state representative from Ward 9, served for one term, which is 2 years. What else can I say? Chaired Southern New Hampshire Outreach of Black Unity for many years. Currently a member of the National Community Conversation on Race and Justice and part of My Brother's Keeper committees here in Nashua. I served on the Criminal Justice Committee when I was in the State House before, and I really enjoyed that because we have a lot to work on in our system here in New Hampshire. And hopefully if I get back in, I will also serve on that as well. However, I do have other concerns about health and affordable care health, one that everyone can be able to afford. And I know that we have some issues right now, but I look forward to trying to solve those issues as well to get so that each of our, sorry about that,
Okay.
What we said would happen is happening tonight. But I like to also work on, I am a substitute teacher here in Nashua as well. So I love children. I have 5 children and 10 grandchildren. So that gives you an idea of how much I'm involved in grandchildren's lives as well. So I serve from I do K through 12 here in Nashua. I truly do love kids, and I think I have a lot to offer when I go into the school system. I remind them that I'm not a babysitter. I'm here for you to use me because I'm here to help you. And
You're being extremely modest about all that you do, both here in Nashua, because you're mentioning all these groups and committees that you're a part of, but really I think a lot of people look to you as a leader of those groups, of the My Brother's Keeper and the conversation on race and justice. You're really a community leader here in Nashua.
Thank you.
And a strong voice. And you have all those. Do you ever get to substitute a class with your a grandchild is in?
No, I did. I did get once with have a great nephew. He just graduated, but I did have him in my class once. Yes.
Yeah. Did he give you a hard time?
Oh no.
He knew not to, right?
No, he knew not to. Yeah.
I bet you they all know not to give you a hard time.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully.
They'll go around and they'll ask their friends and says, "That's my grandmother," or "That's my aunt." Make sure you behave in that class.
Good. It's a nice way to
it's
start
funny,
out.
yeah, but No, I haven't had a problem. I really do, and I think that once I introduce myself, give a little background to the students, and they realize that I'm truly am there to serve for them and to help them, I think they're okay, and I usually don't have a problem.
Good to hear. Well, thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
Next, we have Representative Marty Jack. Marty, this is your second term. You're serving your second term. in the
Thanks,
House?
Dave. Yes, I'm running for my third term. I had a very long career working as a software engineer for one of the major computer manufacturers in the area, and when that had a downturn, I left there. I sit on the Public Works and Highways Committee, which is one of the things that I really try to accomplish. Our roads, every year our roads get a little bit worse. The number of miles in poor condition and the number of redless bridges goes up. So one of the things I really focus on is trying to get sufficient resources to fund the highway maintenance and improvements that we need so that our roads are safe. The other thing that goes with the Public Works Committee is rail. We fell a little bit short this session in trying to get the next step in passenger rail taken. That would be a great economic driver for the region. The studies have shown that several thousand permanent jobs and millions of dollars in economic impact would come. It's very difficult for the high-tech companies particularly. We heard from people in Manchester who say that they can't get people to work for their company because there's no rail to go to Manchester. So that's another thing that I would hope to accomplish in the next session if I'm elected. I have a strong interest in getting as many people onto health insurance as is possible. The best health outcomes happen when people have primary care physicians and they have access to medical care instead of trying to get everything at the emergency room. One of the great things that we did last session is pass the reauthorization of Medicaid expansion. Right now we have over 50,000 people who have health insurance who wouldn't have it without that program. So that's a very important thing that has been done that hopefully we can keep going. One of the other things that I can do on the Public Works Committee, we have jurisdiction over the state property, all the construction projects, and anything that uses bonding, and of course highways. So when we do the capital budget, the community college does a great job of going out to companies and finding out what they need in terms of workforce, designing programs that will let those companies train people for their jobs, and then they get internships, they get jobs, they stay in the state, they have living wages. The Nashua Community College has an advanced manufacturing program that partners with GE Hooksett. So on the Public Works Committee, one of the things I'm able to do is advocate for money to start up new programs where they're needed. One of the things that I do is try to take every bill on its face and make a decision on facts rather than some ideological position that some people stake out. So I'm hopeful that there's plenty more work to do in all those areas, and I would ask for your vote on November 8th.
Thanks, Marty. And, a lot of what we hear from people, the other candidates, it's a lot of what you just said in these little forums. People are talking here in Nashua about rail. They're talking about attracting young people, which rail is a part of, but also good jobs, good schools, things like that. So certainly across the city, people have the same concerns, whether it's Ward 9 or 3 or 1 or anywhere. So the last candidate we have joining us here tonight, last but not least, is Representative Mike O'Brien, former firefighter in the city, as well as on the board of aldermen now,
right.
Serving in many capacities. So can you tell us, why you still are choosing to serve and to serve Nashua, and especially in the House of Representatives?
That's a very good question. My wife could have a different answer with that. I mean, I've served the fire department, citizens in Nashua, for 35 years and retiring at the rank of deputy fire chief. So I was within the number 3 position within the city. I did get to know the inner workings and a lot about the city that I've really come to adopt and come to love. If you're working in that type of job, putting out the fires and working with the citizens, I think you develop a natural love for the city, to which I still have today. And because of that, when my children were growing up, I was active in NYSL, now Nashua Youth Soccer League. I was involved into Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, and proud even to be a cookie dad. But the thing is, I always believed if you want quality programs, you had to be an active participant. Following that, as we came along, opportunity did come up to run for the state, and I went into that position, and I found myself on the transportation board. Reason is because, again, with my other people who served well in Ward 9 before, we all believe in commuter rail, and I firmly believe in it, and I assisted at that time getting together and forming the committee to set the laws and the tone and everything else that's still active today to bring commuter rail into the state. And after that, I have done, as far as my experience with the state, having the experience, I've served as vice chairman for 2 terms in the Transportation Committee, which gives me the ability with the complete understanding of the inner workings and the leadership position up there. But that leads into another thing, and upon my retirement from the fire department, I was able to run for the Board of Aldermen, and I successfully got the position as Alderman at Large. And let me tell you about the clarity and the importance of this, because it gives me the ability to know what's happening in City Hall and how the state can help our citizens in Nashua and vice versa. There are many issues that come up that occur within the state level that can have an adverse effect onto this community. One of the things that is coming up is something like the rollback that the state has done to the municipal budget, and I'm sure that we will work to try to rectify that. Nashua is a great city, but Nashua could use a little bit of help from the state and help out with the budget-wise. But I'm here now with the good people, and I think we're going to have a good team in Ward 9 together here. I'm very excited in running with these people. Marty, Jack, and Linda, and to work together and to do these things to help our citizens in our ward.
Yep, we got a strong Ward 9 team. You guys are all out there talking to people and actively trying to get elected. We have just a couple minutes left. These are short segments, but I'd like to give each of you just a minute to make a final pitch. If someone wants to get more information about you, where would they go, or if they'd like to reach out to you, how can they contact you? And why should they vote for you for state representative in Ward 9?
They should vote for me because I've been in Nashua for 37 years. I love Nashua. I participate. I'm a part, ingrown Nashuan, as far as I'm concerned. I truly believe in women's rights and their choices should be their responsibility and not mine. I truly believe that our educational system should consistently be updated. I believe that as a parent, that my insurance should be affordable for everyone. I believe that my pay should be the same as long as the same quality of work. And I believe that we as a state need to have have one of those senior moments, so excuse me, that we should have increase in our bottom line figures for employment. Oh, and you can reach me by email, Linda HG 4rep, REP, @gmail.com, or my telephone number 603-880-4537, and I do have a Facebook page, Linda Gathright. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Marty, just quickly, why should people vote for you, and how can they get in touch with you if you'd like?
Well, every legislator has a legislative email. If you go to the General Court website, you can look up any legislator. So I have a legislative email. My phone number is 603-318-0457. And I've already explained the work that I do on the committee. And if I'm sent back, I will continue doing more of the same.
Great, thank you. Mike?
Well, I would like to get back into the State House again. Let me just say about that clarity that I have doing two jobs, being in the Alderman at Large and being up at the state. There's a lot of work to do, and again, the meshing and the cohesiveness of working in those two type of positions. Again, in my time up there, I have again been a strong supporter of commuter rail, which I think is instrumental in our economy. Nashua is so very close to Boston. Connecting it together, connecting the economy together, it's important. It's something that really needs to be done. And I will continue that fight up there. And if people really need to get a hold of me, I got a host of things. Again, being a state rep, I do have a state email account that people can look up by simply Googling and go to New Hampshire General Court, and you can find your legislator, and you can go there. I also have a Twitter account. My kids kind of laugh about that, but it's O'Brien for Nashua, and it's O'Brien. We left out the apostrophe, but it's the Gaelic spelling, O-B-R-I-E-N, with the number 4, Nashua. I also have a Gmail account, and that's O'Brien for Nashua, and that's O-B-R-I-E-N, spelled out F-O-R, Nashua. And if I'm on Facebook, you can look up, I have a state representative account on Facebook, and I also have an Aldermanic account on Facebook. And I do appreciate the hits that people have been given, and it's very easy to get a hold of. And many of that has access of emails and different places that you can get a hold of me. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you all very much for being here. We should mention that Ward 9 votes at New Searles Elementary School. Election day is Tuesday, November 8th. The New Hampshire has same-day registration voting. So if you're not registered to vote, there's still time. You can show up at the polls, register to vote. If you don't have an ID, not a problem. You can fill out a voter affidavit, and you're still eligible to vote that day. So hopefully everyone goes. Everyone, we've been saying on the show, everyone needs to go. If you want to affect change, it happens at the local level. Vote from the bottom of the ballot up. And so we have 3 fantastic candidates. We're looking forward to returning all 3 of you to Concord to do great work up there. So thank you for being here with us today. Thank you for tuning in. This has been Us Democrats here on Access Nashua. Thank you.
This Social Security measure gives at least some protection
For anybody to hand this out, we're asking for a chance to have the people who will receive the benefit to earn their way. The same principle established under the Social Security system in this area.
It is no longer acceptable to discuss women's rights as separate from human rights.
I know we can come together to face down the challenges of our own time.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.